Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review Episode 198. This one reviewing the 198th episode of the series. Monsters. Yep, I actually was supposed to do this last night, but it got late, so I couldn't do it. But I'm reviewing today. And this one's a bit of a surprise, though, when it comes to basically what that from the actual manga itself. Now, throughout most of this arc, and a lot of the time in this anime, it generally adapts like one episode. If they go for like the very next chapter, usually they adapt like maybe like half the chapter, or the first like 10 pages. This one adapted 2 full chapters. Okay, now there is some minor changes here, like there's some big ones. One big visual change here, I was kind of surprised they went with this one, especially since basically what happened in the manga, it was a completely different thing here. So, thing starts out with Kawanaki explaining who Delta is, which is the same as manga. Most of the dialogue in this episode is mostly the same anyways. And then Naruto and Delta start their big, humongous fight, which takes up pretty much like 95% of this episode. Yeah, it's a big brawl. And they fight for a bit, and then Naruto goes to Kiba mode. Yep. Now, here's a big change. Oh, yes. They made a big, humongous change with this one. Like, in the manga, the way this looks is completely different than how they presented in the anime. For some reason, they decided to use the look he had from Naruto Shippuden. You know, with the open vest and like the black, almost like a black shirt, and with the little circle symbol for basically, well, where his seal is. Yeah, I'm surprised with this look, and even have little commas there, which this is pretty much the look. This is basically almost like the 6 Sage mode, the 6 Sage seal mode, which that's interesting. The fact he went to this mode, because it pretty much the way it looks like he went to key mode. But this one, he went to this particular mode, but he doesn't have the troop balls because most of them were destroyed during his battle with Sasuke, and he doesn't have his staff. Also, fun little factoid in this form, Naruto can fly. Yes, he can seriously fly in this form. Though they don't have him flying here. In the case of everybody else, they're pretty much wearing the same exact thing in the manga, with the exception of Himawari, who's wearing her anime attire. Because in the manga, they never show her skirt. In the anime, they do. And mostly it's the same. They do make one small change here with this one. Like, okay, they have where Naruto gets stabbed in the same place he is in the manga, except they do make one big change here with this one. The way it looks when he heals. Yes, because in the manga, it just basically was like a blank spot, and then eventually just burns away. In the anime, it actually looks like a freaking hole was built to his freaking belly, and then, of course, thanks to Kurama, heals of the actual wound. Oh, and by the way, before the fight starts, Delta basically says, "Hey, you're Naruto Uzumaki." Yep. Well, basically, she probably knows him via reputation. And then, pretty much like, of course, Naruto's telling Boruto, Kawanaki, and Himawari, like, go back off. Like a little bit further than what they are. And then pretty much like, okay, so they try to get further away. And of course, Boruto does want to help out. But Kawanaki points out, though, if you do that, Naruto won't be able to go all out. So stay the sidelines. And eventually, of course, apparently Delta still has her drone still off of her back, which they do make a small change. If they actually show her back, when she takes off her cloak before she starts fighting, yeah, they actually show her back this time, because in the manga, you never see her back without the drone back there. I mean, the way it looks when the drone is basically planted in her back, it looks like a big button. Yes, I don't know if anybody's ever pointed this out, though, for Delta. Hey, your drone looks like a big button to someone you just push and shut you off, Delta. Yep, and of course, Naruto points out, though, that her eyes, her eyes and legs are scientific ninja souls, almost her whole body, and his primary target is her torso. I'm sure that is probably still organic. I'm sure it probably is. Yeah. Though, here's the interesting thing, though. It's not stated if her arms are scientific ninja souls. The only parts of her body that is confirmed to be scientific ninja souls is her eyes, her back, and her legs. I don't know if now they do confirm here that her torso is not scientific, is not like metal, whatever. It looks like basically like a normal looking front, and her arms pretty much are normal. In manga, it's kind of the same thing too. Then during the course of fighting, basically Delta gets her hands on Himawari. Yep. And tries to, of course, she shows off one of her abilities, this big, humongous laser beam that she has, which this thing not only destroys basically there, it also incinerates every cell there. Basically, anything that has a healing factor is automatically nullified. So it's kind of similar to the Murasa sword from Marvel Comics. It's a sword that Wolverine used to originally kill. Well, he thought he killed Sabretooth, but it turns out it was a clone. What it does, it blocks healing factor. From what I can tell, if a laser uses the same principle, and I don't think that the writer of the manga at this point, it's not Kishimoto, it's like somebody else, I don't think he basically ripped off the Mishimura sword. He basically just took an ability from that sword and gave it to basically Delta. I don't think that even like Marvel Comics are probably want to get just abilities. I remember an actual sword. Yeah, because that's the sword's prime ability is because it is a piece of Wolverine's soul. It has ability to block healing factor. The blade does, and if I can tell from the eyes, it uses the same principle. But that's all it does. It takes that one small little thing from it. Aside from that, it doesn't take anything else from the actual sword itself. May take inspiration for, who knows. Then, of course, she tries to fire her laser beam at Himawari. Naruto tries to block it himself. Looks like he's about to die. But then Kwanki steps in and basically gets his arm nearly blown off by Delta. Delta, of course, is very angry. And, of course, he tells Boruto, well, this makes it even for the vase. And he says, you idiot. And, of course, Delta's angry and about to start round 2, which we're going to have next week. So pretty much with this episode, we are exactly at episode 198. In 2 weeks, it will be episode 200. Which, that's going to be interesting, the fact we're going to hit 200 for the end of this month. Yeah, that's interesting, though, the fact that is. I would have thought, though, now, normally, my guess is the reason we're hitting this now was because of the 1 month that the series was off last year. That's mainly the reason why that we're hitting 200 now instead of back in March. Yes, if in fact that the pandemic had not happened last year, we would hit this particular episode 200 2 months ago. But because of the 1 month delay, that was mainly the reason for it. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to episode 200 when it comes out, which comes out in just 2 weeks. Yep. And 200 is going to be Apprentice, which is going to be interesting. And I believe also that week they're going to release a new chapter of the manga. Yes. Next episode's called Overload, which that's going to be interesting. Though I think I wouldn't be surprised, though, if either 200 or 201 is going to be a temporary stop of the adaptation of the manga before they resume it. Because at this point, anyways, they've already adapted always reached chapter 32. Because if you read the actual manga itself, the first 13 chapters, it's just an adaptation of the movie. With the exception of the first opening 5 pages of chapter 1. Mostly put, it is. And I would say from chapter 14 forward, it's all original content. And at this point, they've already adapted about 18 chapters of that original content. And the most recent chapter that came out was 57. So in actuality, the anime has got about 25 chapters left to adapt. Though I don't think this particular adaptation will not last much longer. I don't think so, no. My guess is it'll probably end in 3 episodes. That's my personal guess. Because the way it looks from the titles, it looks like, though, that possibly 200 might be the last one, but who knows for now. But it all depends upon what Parrot wants to do for this one. Yes, but I gotta say, interesting though they go for that particular mode. Like, if you see the anime, like, wait, that's a 6 age mode, and yet he's going to Kibe mode with the way this move, or what way he moves. I'm not sure why they went for this particular visual, why they changed it to this, even though in the manga it's the outfit he had, the way he had here. It's, oh yeah, he also used the giant hands, which he last used way back in I think it was a tuning exam. Yes. Now, yes, he did use this mode just a few episodes back, of course. But this is, of course, the first proper usage of this particular mode since the tuning exam. Yeah, that was the last official time he used this thing that used like this. Not just to stop Kawanaki briefly, but mostly. But this is the first proper usage of this particular mode since the tuning exam. Yeah. So, who knows what we're going to do next? I'm hoping, really hoping, that like after this arc wraps up, that we take a break from this and go to anime. That we might see more. I'm hoping to see more adaptation of the light novels. I'm hoping so. Yep. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my next review, will be the review of the OVA for Is It Wrong to Have Girls in a Dungeon. Okay, that's the next video. Bye.